Okay, so my first question is, can you tell me just a little bit about your background, like a brief biography of how you got to this position?
I was in college, and I had, at that point, I had looked at teaching. Unfortunately, it didn't pay much, and I had a family, so I went into retail management. And then, over the course of 20 years, I worked for Safeway, Office Depot, and then I became a vice president of operations for a hotel firm. I did that for a few years, and then I decided I wanted to enter teaching. My kids are raised, so I've taught now. I started in mild moderate environment as a teacher. Then I got my social studies single subject credential, and I've done that for the 10 years. This year I took on the position here at Fremont Unified as the social studies K through 12 instructional coach.
Great. Can you just talk a little bit about a description of your duties, like the typical day or week, what that looks like?
So in addition, I do kind of a variety of areas. Specifically, I'm involved obviously with the social studies. We're involved in a project of actually two integrations of technology that I'm involved with. The elementary, it's called online exchange, and that goes along with our hard materials subject matter. At the secondary, we're looking at a company called My Documents, and they're designed to use primary documentation, and then they have lesson plans that are aligned with that, along with extended activities for AP advanced placement classes at the high school level.
Thanks. Can you also talk about your master's studies a little bit? Because I think that's pretty relevant.
So I'm working on my master's. My master's project is a narrowly defined area specific to Fremont Unified, whereas conceivably you could extrapolate to other teachers, but I'm confining my findings. What is inhibiting teachers from bringing technology, but more specifically, what programs that exist have been instrumental in teachers doing it. So what have individual teachers found is being successful for their own personal use of technology in the classroom. So we can expand those areas versus trainings that aren't have value to the teacher.
Great, thanks. And then can you, I guess, you're obtaining your master's. Do you have any other professional aspirations at this time?
I think this is a new avenue for me, this environment, in the office. Surprisingly more similar to my previous background in an office scenario. I think down the road at some point I would enter administration, in that, because I do miss working with the students to some extent.
Great. What do you feel, I think you kind of covered this, but what do you feel are some of your contributions to the field, maybe both in instructional coaching and in kind of integrating instructional technology?
I'm on the Technizery Advisory Committee, which advises the Fremont Unified School Board on technology. So I was fortunate enough to be involved in the very beginning with the adoption of School Loop. And I was part of the beta test group that actually integrated the school. And one of the great things, and that's where the formulation of my own vision for the master's thesis is that we adopted School Loop organically. First it was 5 teachers in the district, and then when the other teachers saw that it was being effective, more teachers adopted it, and now we have about a 98 percentile adoption at the school.
Okay, so my next question is, what do you find rewarding about coaching?
I think that there's the aspect of where if you have a good idea or some kind of vision, it enables you to bring that to other teachers. For me, it's listening to a lot of teachers and getting their ideas and bringing them to other teachers. So you kind of develop a cadre. We sent, this district sent 6 teachers to the National Conference on Social Studies, and now I'm meeting with those teachers, and they're going to develop some professional development for other teachers. So it's facilitating, coordinating training of other teachers, and that's rewarding knowing that you're building that kind of growth mindset amongst teachers.
Great. What about what's the most challenging?
It's the same thing. Particularly at the secondary level, you get teachers who are really, their mindset is, I've been doing it for 10 years this way. The kids learn, I really don't need to. And that's not unique to teaching, it's across the board. People get in a way of doing things. So it's trying to break that concrete and say, hey, try it. If it doesn't work great, you always have something to fall back on, but let's try some new things. And so just getting teachers to look at different methodologies of teaching, that's probably the most difficult thing for me.
Okay, then also in terms of technology integration, because I feel like that's a little bit different, what do you find challenging about that, and maybe rewarding as well?
I think that there's a couple, that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of, there's just technology. I have a little saying, and I start all my training, technology should be a pencil. We don't spend a whole lot of time training students on how to use a pencil. And what's different about technology is it requires not only hardware, but software, hard and soft training. So, for instance, as a teacher, if you get a lesson together and you're all ready to go and the internet goes down, well, that's totally outside your thing. So that's extremely frustrating for a teacher. Correspondingly, a teacher, interestingly enough, in technology, it's a mind shift in the sense that historically teachers have said that they are the masters of their universe. In technology, you have to release that and say, conceivably, in many cases, the students are going to learn the material faster than I am, and they're going to know how to access. So in my last few years of teaching, new software was coming up, different Prezi, for instance. And I had no experience. As students said, Mr. Burbick, can I use this for, and I was like, great, do it. Well, I wasn't able to teach him how to do it, though.
Right.
He was the one who was now doing it and showing me, and I have to change my mind to say, hey, that's okay, that he's learning, the students are learning on their own and growing farther than I'm going to, currently at, and that's a different mindset for them as a teacher. So I think that's one of the aspects of technology. And then on the hard side, do all students have access to technology, whether it's at home or at school? We're fortunate now that more and more we have the technology to provide the students, but 5 years, most schools here in Fremont didn't have that technology, so that's the hard areas that we're dealing with.
Great, thanks. And then the last question is, how do you feel your educational background prepared you for this position?
Well, I guess there's two kinds of my education. As a student, I was a history major, poli-sci major at Cal. So that gave me that. In terms of my current position, probably my education did as much as just as the street cred of going to a major university. When people hear that, oh, you went to whether I can remember anything at all from there. In terms of what I think that in terms of my coaching position, my education has been more dealing with adults in my professional career prepared me for this. Didn't necessarily prepare as much as a teacher, but now I'm back to teaching adults, working with adults. So my professional career, working with adults, most of it has prepared me for the coaching position.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Anything else you want to add? Or
No, I think it's, the whole technology thing is something that's really approaching for all of us. And it's an area that, then you look at teachers that, one of the things I'm finding is we're throwing so many different things at them, and we expect them. So they have their core curriculum, then we have this new program, and then the minute they're trying to learn something new, and then we're going to say, like Google for education, oh, this is something new now today. And they still haven't solidified what knowledge they may have or whatever. So I think that's one of the things. It's so acceleration technology. That's a hard thing for teachers to try to keep touch with, and it's a challenge for all of us. So.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.